My name is Sarah. Welcome to the It is a Sarah podcast. Today it is Monday, August 19, 2024, and in this episode I want to share my handwerk perikelen with you. That's Dutch for crafty adventures. I'm coming to you from the Netherlands, so excuse my Dutchy English. I love to knit, I love to crochet, I love to sew, and I love to talk, so that's the perfect combination for making this podcast. I make my episodes in Dutch and in English, so be sure you pick the right one. Okay, let's dive in today's finished objects, and let me start with what I'm wearing. I have a lot to share with you today, and I even skipped some things because otherwise the episode would be too long, and I will save them for another time, but I have so much to tell you, to share with you. Let me start with what I'm wearing, because I'm wearing two finished objects today. This one is very brand new, because I'm wearing it for the first time today, and I will share all the details about it with you in a minute. But let me start with another new item in my wardrobe, in my me-made wardrobe, my skirt. It is not actually new. I finished it just before we went on holiday, and I did wear it all the time. I showed a little bit last week. I was not wearing it, but I was holding it up. And today I will give this item a deserved place in my podcast, because I'm so proud. It is a sewn item. Let me stand and show it a bit before I start talking about it. I do know you can't see it all. I will insert a video at the end, I guess, or maybe at the beginning, or maybe now, in which you can see it all from bottom to top. But it's a long skirt. It is the Songbirdskirt. It is actually my second one. A few weeks before we went on holiday, I did sew my first Songbirdskirt. It's a pattern by Liberated. I think they are American, or maybe Canadian, I don't know. It's an English pattern. For me, that was quite a challenge in the beginning, because my English sewing vocabulary was not existing, so I had to search for a lot of terms. But I also had that experience when I started knitting English patterns, and it will become easier and easier every time, so I have a lot of trust in it. I did sew the little Cherish Songbird skirt a few weeks ago, and I was very happy with the long length of the skirt. I did tell you more about that last week. I'm a tiny person, and I thought that long skirts would not be flattering on me, but I feel really good in them. So long skirts are my new favorite summer wear, so that's really nice. And I did start this one before we went on holiday, and I was filming daily episodes. Maybe I showed a little bit of the process, I can't remember. But I did finish it in the days before we went on holiday, and I was very happy because it was one of my favorite items this summer. The Songbird skirt is a combination pattern. You receive the pattern for the skirt. It's a skirt with tiers. I think that's the right word. They use the word tiers in the pattern. You have 3 tiers. In Dutch we call it stroken. So I don't know if tiers is the translation for stroken. I'm not quite sure, but it's a skirt existing. There are 3 parts, and every part is a little bit wider than the part above, and you have to I forgot the term. In Dutch we say rimpelen. I don't know it. Okay, as you can see, you have those the seams, and it is how do you say it? I know the word. It's easy. Maybe it will come up. I know you are all saying it to me right now. As I said, my English sewing vocabulary is not really strong at the moment. So I did know the word, but it was a few weeks ago and now it dropped down somewhere in my mind and maybe it will come up. Let me start with telling you a little bit more about the fabric. I did choose for a double gauze cotton, and that fabric is in the Netherlands. I don't know if that's in other countries too, but it's mostly it's used for baby towels because it's very soft, and for the sensitive skin of little babies and little children we use it for them. And we use other fabric for our towels. It's more rough and it's also more sustainable, I guess, and it dries a little bit better. But I did make a big pile of those double gauze cotton towels for holiday because they are they don't take as much space as the towels we usually use. So that was really nice. And I also wanted to make some garments from this fabric because I think it's a very nice fabric for warm summer days. And it definitely is. It is really nice. It's really drapey. Double gauze actually are two very thin layers of cotton brought together. I don't know exactly how they stay together, if they are woven together or what kind of technique they use to make this fabric. I didn't deep dive into this, but it's a little bit of a light, airy fabric, but because there are two layers, it's not really shine through, and yeah, it's really nice to wear. And I ordered a lot of beautiful fabric, beautiful colors, and I wanted to make garments in all the colors. And yeah, of course I chose for the brown first because brown is my absolutely favorite color, so I'm really happy with that. And what did I do? I don't know what I want to say. I did really enjoy making the making process. As I said, I have a very special relationship with my sewing machine. We are together. It was a gift from my husband when our oldest son was born, and he's almost 20 years old. So we are together for quite a long time. But our relationship is still very fragile because, yeah, we are not going good always. And yeah, I told about it a lot before, but we are on quite good speaking terms right now. And the trust is growing, the trust in each other. And I am very looking forward to go on with my sewing adventure. And I really missed my sewing machine. I don't know if she missed me too. Because I'm a bit afraid I'm the clumsy person in this friendship. I always blamed her, and yeah, I'm not quite sure if that was really how it was. So maybe she's a bit hurt by all my negative thoughts about her, and I don't know if her trust in me is also growing. I hope. But the last few garments did work out pretty good, so I really hope. I need to put away some dust from her, and then we will try again. Yeah, so I did work on this one. What I did notice is that the double gauze cotton is not as strong as the linen cotton or even as the thicker cotton I made my first songbird skirt in. Oh, the songbird skirt is a combination pattern of a skirt in tiers and a top, and the top is made in jersey. I never made that one. I don't have experience with sewing in jersey. Maybe I will do that on a day, but it's not really on my list right now. I'm really enjoying the sewing on the woven fabrics right now, and the stretchy fabrics, yeah, I don't know. It will come one day or not, we shall see. But you receive both patterns when you buy the pattern, the songbird skirt pattern. I don't know if the top has an own name. I'm not quite sure. I really enjoyed making this one. I did notice that the fabric is not as strong as linen, as I said. I made a mistake and ripping it out was quite visible, but it is what it is. And also, I don't know how it's called. You have strawberries, raspberries, blackberries? No, not blackberries. I think blackberries. the blackberry plant is very prickly. So August is really blackberry month right now in the Netherlands. So when I'm walking in the woods, there are a lot of plants and their strands, no, not strands, their twigs are laying over the path, and they have those little tiny itchy points. In Dutch we call it dorens. And stakels, and they like to grab my skirt. I think they like it too. and it's also a little visible. The fabric is a little bit damaged by them, but I'm a little bit of a clumsy person. I make stains, and I am attached to everything, and yeah, that's okay. It's very important that my garments can handle that. And double gauze cotton seems a little bit vulnerable to be worn by Sarah, but still I did burn it a lot. It has some marks and some spots and some stains, but not very visible, so I think we are good. Yeah. There is something at the back. My husband and my kids, we were doing one of our last hikes in France, and they suddenly said, "Oh, you have a hole in your skirt." So I thought, "Oh no, a hole!" And they meant this part. Let me see. I think it's this. It's not actually really a hole, because the double layers, only the upper layer is damaged, and I'm quite sure. I didn't hang at something, but I'm quite sure it's caused by my backpack, because I was wearing that and my backpack was scratching around the fabric for a whole hike. And I think that's the cause of the, not really a hole, but the damaged fabric. Yeah, and my plan is, I can't see it because it's on my back, and that it's not really bothering me. My plan is to do some embroidery, I think in brown, in the same color, maybe just some mending, maybe making a nice flower to cover it. But as I said, it's on my back, so I don't see it, so it's not very high on my priority list. So yeah, we shall see. Yeah, so Songbird skirts making me really happy. I have some black double gauze cotton in my stash right now, and I definitely will order more for next summer for tops or maybe short pants or long pants or a dress. It's really a nice fabric for summer, to wear in summer, but summer is almost at her end, so I won't make any double gauze garments right now. Next year, 2025. Yeah, the other thing, let me first take a little snip. In Dutch we say slok, een slok water drinken. I have a new cup. I don't know if you remember my previous one. It's a nice story, or that's a nice story. This is a sad story. This was my favorite coffee mug. I received it from my dad many years ago, and I drink my coffee out of this mug. It's quite a big one, every day, twice. And I really love this mug, the look of it, the shape, and also that it was a gift from my father. But it dropped from our... how do you say it? We don't have a dishwasher. We do our dishes by hand, and you have this little rack in which you place your wet cups and boards, and then another person, or if you are not lucky, you have to do it all yourself. You have to dry it with a towel, a tea towel, and it dropped from the rack on the ground. My husband did it, not on purpose. Lucky him. Of course not on purpose, but it was broke, and he did glue it, and it was really, he really put some effort in it. He really made it very well, and my coffee stays in it. But the first time I drank coffee after his reparation, I really tasted a glue taste, and I am not sure if it was only if it was real or if it was only mental. I'm not quite sure, but it was really annoying. So I decided I didn't want to drink coffee out of it anymore because it didn't feel healthy, the glue. So I crocheted a little plant, and now it's staying at our piano, and it's still making me happy. And we have enough other nice coffee mugs. But then my 17-year-old daughter, no, not 70, 17-year-old daughter came back home from holiday last week, and she said, I have a present for you, a gift for you. She told me that she doubted a little bit because it was quite pricey, but then she thought, oh, I really love my mum, so I will bring it for her. And I had no idea what she meant. But then I received this beautiful new coffee mug. It's the same shape, it's the same brand, it's a Polish brand, which is called Bunzlau, and they paint all the stuff by hand on it, and she chose one with really lovely tiny flowers, and it's really lovely. And yeah, it was a heart jumping moment for me because I missed my coffee mug. I really love the shape and all that, but it's extra special right now because the love from my daughter is catched into this mug, so every time I drink coffee out of it, I'm thinking of her, and that's making me very happy. So yeah. I'm not a blue lover, but I do love this kind of blue on the mugs and on the plates and whatever. So I definitely would prefer it in brown, but it's not existing in brown. So this is really nice, and I really love the little flowers. Okay, next finished object. I am wearing it today for the very first time. This is my Thea top with a little bit of Sarah sauce. The Thea top is a design by Susanne Müller. And her Instagram name is Paula Strikt. And she's a German knitting designer. I don't know her very well, but I did saw this top when it was worn. No, that's a difficult sentence. I did saw this top at one of my friends a few years ago, I guess, maybe 1 or 2 years ago, and I was really catched by the neckline. I love deep necklines. I really loved how it fitted her, and it was really directly on my wish list. I received the pattern as a surprise in my Ravelry inbox from that friend last year, and I definitely wanted to make one last year. I did make one last year. This one, it was a scrappy one with all the scrappy bright leftover cotton yarns, and I didn't get gauge. I knitted it on smaller needles with a thinner yarn, and it was a little bit too small for me. I did fit in it, but was a little bit too small and also a little bit too bright. But my daughter, she really liked it, so she does wear it. So this was my first Thea top. And for this year, I really wanted one myself, and I wanted one in one color. So I did. I did knit it in Drops Bell. This was my first experience with Drops Bell. I don't have a lot of experience with plant fiber yarns. I am really a big wool lover, but I noticed that I can't handle wool when it's warm. When I'm getting warm, wool's never itchy on me except when I'm feeling warm, and I get overheated quite quickly, and then I don't like the feeling of wool, the itchiness, and I don't like a lot of other stuff either. Then I don't like to have it warm. That's why I'm not really a summer lover. I love the good weather, but I don't love the temperature. When the temperature is too high, I'm not feeling good. I didn't wear a lot of hand knitted garments in summer because of the materials, and I always was a little bit afraid of knitting with cotton. I heard a lot of people telling that knitting with cotton is not really nice and not really fun. So I was a bit influenced by all those comments, but I actually didn't have a lot of experience myself. Last year I did crochet quite some cotton tops, and I did love to wear them. But this year I tried for the first time Sandnes Line for my Senna cardigan, and Drops Bell is actually the same combination of materials, cotton, linen and viscose. No, in other, I think cotton, viscose and linen. So I wanted to try this one too, because a lot of people were very happy about this yarn. with this yarn. And yeah, I must say it was a pleasure to work with. It was actually quite nice to knit with. I am not a neat knitter, I'm a bit of a messy knitter, and plant fiber yarns are not really forgivable, but I did notice that blocking has a very strong effect on the plant fiber. I actually thought that it was only on woolly fibers, the blocking effect, but definitely it affects the cotton and other plant fibers knitting too. It really straightened my stitches and it really looks better after blocking. So I did knit my summer knusty in a cotton linen mix. I made my Senna cardigan, and now I made this one, and I'm really happy. So that's really nice, a nice experience, and I'm not afraid of knitting with cotton anymore. The color I used is color 21, and it's not on the label, but I'm quite sure it was called Pink Almond. It's a bit of an old browny pink color, and I really love this shade. The Thea top, let me start, I have more. I knitted with smaller needles than the pattern recommended because I'm a loose knitter. I knitted it on 3mm needles. It's a DK weight yarn. I'm quite sure the recommended needle size was 4mm, but I actually always go down 1 needle size with all the yarns, I guess. At least 1 needle size, I guess. I'm not quite sure. I used my bamboo chow goose because the bamboo needles are a little bit tougher, so that's good when you are a messy knitter, or when you are knitting with plant fiber yarns, or when both is happening. I do notice some difference between knitting with bamboo needles and knitting with the metal needles, but it's only a small difference, and I'm not quite sure if it's really different, or maybe I'm just thinking I see a difference because that, yeah, I expect to see a difference. I'm not quite sure. I'm happy. I have both sets, and I'm happy with them anyway, because I have all the needle sizes double, and that's really nice because I work on several projects at the same time. But for this one I chose the bamboo needles, and it worked out really fine. My ribbing I did with metal needles because I don't have this small size in bamboo, and those are the 2mm needles. So I have no idea if I got gauge because I didn't measure. I was on holiday and I thought, okay, let me knit it anyway. And getting gauge was really a frustrating process before summer for me. So I know getting gauge is important when you want to follow a pattern, but for me, sometimes it works better to just think, okay, just knit and let's see how it will be. When I was knitting, the top looked very white, and I was a bit worried that it would be way too white. It is most of the time I knit my garments quite in a narrow fit. I love the look of that. I love wearing that. I did notice I have some cotton knitted tops, the Jessie Made patterns, for example. They are quite narrow with quite some negative ease, and it's not always feeling nice when it's very warm. You can't do this when it's when you have very much negative ease, and I really love to do this when I'm warm. I don't know if you can see it, this. I'm not wearing any tank top under it, only my bra, so it's really airy and nice. It's also really nice next to skin, so of course it's not itchy because there's nothing that could be itchy in it, so that's really nice to wear. When I was knitting it on my holiday, it looked very white, and also I didn't have enough yarn. I thought that with 4 skeins of yarn, 4 balls of yarn, 50-gram balls, so 200 grams in total, I would definitely have enough for a top in my size, the smallest size, but I didn't. So I stopped knitting. I was already knitting the ribbing, and I thought maybe when I can take away some rounds of the ribbing of the shoulders and the neckline, I will have enough. But I also knew my mom had quite some of this color in her yarn stash, so I asked her if I could use a little bit if she had something left, and she didn't knit her garment, but she said, I'm quite sure that I will have enough. And I only needed 10 grams. My top did weigh 210 grams, so it was really a little bit. So I was very happy that I could use it from her. So I finished it last week when we were back home, and yeah, when I did a quick fit, I thought, okay, it looked very wide when I was knitting, but when my body is in it, it was actually quite okay. It was a little bit on the short side. I actually wanted to knit a little bit longer so I could tuck it in my skirt and blouse it over it. I actually don't wear pants, so I don't wear it on my pants. It was not necessary. And I think this is actually the perfect length for how to wear it. Tucking it into my skirt wasn't giving the effect I wanted, but I did do quite some decreases in the last round before ribbing. I actually always do. Quite often the pattern, the garment will flare out. When you knit ribbing, you always go down a needle size for knitting ribbing, and also the ribbing, the stitches will stretch in, and when you have the stockinette part and then you do the ribbing, it naturally I'm sorry, naturally, that's a simple word, I don't know why I'm struggling with it, the stitches will stretch together. They won't stretch out, but they stretch together, so the shape will be naturally this way. Naturally. But quite often that didn't happen at my knitting. I did go down a needle size, I did the ribbing stitches, but still it could be quite flary, and that didn't give the garment the look I wanted to have. So I learned that it can be very useful to do some increases in the round before you start the ribbing, so your last stockinette round. So I actually always do that. I must confess, most of the times I forget it, and then I have the flary item, and then I have to rip out the ribbing and do it. So I'm very happy that I did think of it before I knitted the ribbing this time. That was really a successful moment in my knitting career. I always have those nice ideas and thoughts and insights. Sometimes they come out of me, out of myself, and a lot of other times I get the inspiration from other people. But my problem is I always forget those insights. Then I thought, oh, this is such a good idea. I will do that forever from now on. And when I do it the next time, I forget it. And then I finish my garment and I thought, oh yes, but I should do this. And then it's quite time consuming, but my brain works that way, so I accepted it. But when I do think of it, it's always very a happy moment for me. So that was this time too. Because my top was looking so wide, I did quite some increases. I knitted 2 stitches and then I knitted 2 together. So every 3rd and 4th stitch I knit together. And normally I only knit the 10th and 11th stitch together, or maybe the 7th and the 8th, but not so many decreases. But this time I did. And I think it turned out pretty perfect, because now it flares inside on quite a natural way. I also did the bind off quite tight. I had to try it 2 times, because the first time it was too tight. It was looking good when I was wearing it, but when I was putting the garment on or out, it was really annoying, especially on this part, the widest part of my body. I really, yeah, the bind off was really too tight, and I was really afraid I would break it, and I didn't like the feeling that I couldn't stretch it out anymore. So I had to redo this, and it worked out pretty good. So you can see it's quite a natural drape, so inside, and I actually love the look of it, and I love the feeling of it. So the length is perfect, the height is perfect, and I didn't accept that. So that was really a hard jumping moment for me. The Thea top is a top-down pattern, and I really love that because then you can adjust the length if you want to and if you have enough yarn. You start with knitting the back, and then you do some increases for the armholes, and when you are done with the back you pick up stitches for the left front, and again you do some increases for the armholes and some increases for the neckline, and then you do the same at the right, and then at some part you do some extra stitches for the neckline, and the fronts are together, and you work a little bit further, and then at the next point you can join all the stitches in the round, and from then you are knitting back and forth until then, and from then on you can knit in the round, and it is very easy, and nothing's really happening, and I really love that because you can do the fit. It's always a little bit exciting if it's not too close under my armpits, so I always have to be aware of that I have enough space. I don't like it when it's too close under my armpits. I don't like the feeling, so I love to have a little bit more space there and a little bit more room there. Yeah, so I did that, and this little bit of Sarah sauce I put over this pattern, over this design, is the garter stitch round. Because it's actually a stockinette top, and I wanted to add the garter stitch round because two reasons actually. The first reason was I'm not a very neat knitter, and I learned from my my summer class tea that you can hide your messy dancing stitches in structured patterns, and that was really I really liked that idea. I really loved that. But also, I think only knitting stockinette in one color is a little bit too boring for me. I really love to have a little bit of a change in the pattern, and a garter stitch it's a very easy peasy change. It's not very exciting when you are knitting back and forth. After every 5 rows I had to knit a row instead of purl. And when you are knitting in the round, every 6th round, I had to purl instead of knit. And it's not very exciting, but it really helps knitting to it. It's really motivating, knitting to a garter stitch round, or making appointments with yourself. Okay, after this garter stitch round, I will do the dishes, or I will stop knitting and play a game. Or I really love those little breaking moments in your knitting. It's really motivating me, and I'm really having fun that way. And I also love the look. I love the look of the garter stitch, and yeah, I'm very happy. I definitely will make another one. Oh, one thing about the garter stitch. When you are knitting in the round, there's not a problem when you are knitting back and forth. But when you are knitting in a round, it's always the spiral problem. You knit your round, and when you are back at the start, you're not here, but you are there. And when you are knitting with different colors, stripes, for example, I think you can see it a little bit at this one. I think I changed the place. No, you've done that very well, Sarah. It's not visible at all. Okay. But also with a structure stitch, when I knit the garter around and I come there, you will see definitely this part. So what I did was the same as what I always do when I do color changes. I knit the garter stitch round, and when I came there and I knit the next round, I did just a knitting, and then I slipped the first stitch purlwise without knitting, and then I continued. And then when you slip the first stitch, you do a little bit of this. It's not completely invisible. The beginning of round in this pattern is at the middle of my back, so it's quite a visible spot. But of course, in the design, it wasn't necessary to hide that spot because there were no garter stitches involved. But my Sarah sauce did. I did think of doing the spot on under my arm, because I thought it's maybe less visible than at the back. But then I thought, okay, just let it be this way, see how it will work out. And of course, I can't see my back, only when I'm looking in a mirror, but I'm not looking quite often to my back in the mirror. I don't know what you are doing, or if you are doing that, only once or twice when I want to see how it is, but not really. I see my front part and also the sides much more. So I was okay with it, and I think, let me show it to you. I don't know if you can see it. Is it visible in the camera? There is a part right here where it's a little bit visible. But yeah, it's not bothering me at all. So I think it's okay. Yeah, definitely will make another one. I don't think right now because autumn is coming, and I will share a little bit more about that. But I have more drop spell in my stash. I really love to wear this. It's also always when you finish a garment, it needs some moments to wear. Sometimes you know it immediately. I think that's the case with this one. I think this is the perfect garment for me for summer, and sometimes you got to know your new garment or how to wear it, but I think I'm very happy with this one, and I definitely will make more, maybe play a little bit with the texture. It was my plan to make a lace rich in it. I really love the look of that, but then it's more shine through, and I only want to wear a bra under it, and I don't want that to be visible. I don't feel comfortable with that, so I thought maybe I can do that in a little vest under which I will wear a top anyway. But this is really nice to wear without anything under it. It's quite warm today. Again, but also when I went out for the walk this morning, it was quite chilly, and then my torso get the same warm feeling as if I always feel when I'm catched into warm woolly layers. That special feeling that I thought it was caused by the woolly yarns, but I had a little bit of the same feeling this morning with this one, and it didn't make sense because there's no wool involved. It is a DK weight yarn, so it's a thicker fabric, but then I thought maybe it's the Sarah Love. Maybe I put some Sarah Love in it, so that was really heartwarming, torso warming. Yeah, okay, that was it about the Thea top. I casted on a new summer top. This one, it's a brown one. It is actually the May top. Let me start with the yarn. It's my first experience with knitting for Olive. Pure silk. I never knitted with pure silk before. I actually also never knitted with knitting for Olive before. I think this is my first experience with this brand. I did buy it in a lovely yarn shop in the Netherlands, in Dordrecht, Rebel with a Twist. I was there in June. I had an appointment with one of my knitting friends, and we visited the yarn shop, and I did buy 2 yarn balls because I thought that I would be good with 2 yarn balls. I could knit a lot of tops. And when I came home, I did regret it a little bit because there were a lot of nice patterns on the Knitting for Olive website, but I wouldn't have enough with 2 yarn balls. I definitely had should bought 3. And it were all bottom up patterns, so it's also a bit exciting when you have top down. You can play a little bit with it, maybe add some color ends, but. So I was not sure what to make with this one, and then my mom, she knitted the May top, and she said, I think you have enough. It's also knitted in pure silk. She said, I think you have enough with 2 skeins in your size, and I loved her top. She knitted in this color, I guess, and it's a knit tree purl tree top. Summer top with a lace panel in front. The May top is designed from Asita Krebs, and she's also known as CD Spint, and I'm quite sure she's from Switzerland and one of the organizers of the Swiss Yarn Festival. I watched an episode from her on YouTube. Yeah, so I started it, and with the back panel. It's also a top-down panel. A top-down pattern, and I really love that. I am a little bit afraid that, yeah, this part, as I said, that I'm too close under my armpits. It was my plan to put in a lifeline before I started the armhole increases, but I was too lazy to stand up and grab some contrasting yarn, so I didn't do that, and now I regret. because when, yeah, I could rip it out much more easily when it would, and add 1 or 2 centimeters when it would be necessary. We shall see. I did add 2 rows and some increases. I'm not quite sure if that's a good idea or not. I have to pick up the front panels right now and then also do the increases, and then we shall see. I wanted to see if it's wide enough. If it's already too wide, it doesn't make sense to add extra decreases, but when it's very fitted, I might be good with just adding a few more increases and for extra length, but we shall see. The knitting for Olive, pure silk, is really knitting up nicely. I didn't have experience with it. I thought it would be more rough, but it's actually quite soft. It really reminds me of knitting with cotton. I really hope it blocks out very well. It is. I am quite okay with how it knits up. I have some rows really. I was really relaxed, I guess. They are quite loose. But I have no, maybe it will block out really nice. We shall see. I think this will be my last summer top. I wanted to make a new skirt in an autumn rusty brown orange color, and it would be lovely to wear it together with a brown top, really autumnally colors on warm September days. But I don't know if I will make that in time, because last days I was a little bit distracted by another knitting. I will show it short. I won't deep dive into it right now because there's no time for it, but because I did knit I did knit quite some on it. I wanted to show it today. I already have a Ravelry page for this project, so if you are curious, you can watch, and I don't remember the pattern by head right now, so I will give it the deserved attention later. But I am very busy with thinking about the projects for autumn I want to cast on. What do I want to do? I really love to muse about my knitting and crochet, and what do I want to let go this new season. The autumn is the season of letting things go. Don't bring it with you into the dark and cold and boring winter. Just like an apple tree, it's time to harvest. So that's another part. You harvest an apple tree, you harvest the apples, you can harvest your knitting and crochet maybe too, but it's also time to let go. An apple tree also let go, the grammar, drop the leaves, and because to save energy for the surviving the winter. And it really makes me think, what do I want to drop this autumn? Don't want to bring with me this winter. And I think it's a little bit of my yarn stash I want to drop. I don't mind having a yarn stash. It really feels comfortable, actually. It really feels good as a rich thumb. I want to have a big yarn stash, but it's also good to use it up sometimes. And there are some yarns I would not really buy them these days anymore, but I still love them. And it really feels better to make something beautiful with it. And I'm really into my scrappy things. So I'm making a scrappy sweater. It will definitely not be for me. I don't know for who it will be then. It's a little bit depending on how big it will be. But it's really making me happy. It really gives me a good feeling to use up all those tiny ends. I have a big magic DK weight ball. It's an Aran weight sweater with 2 strands of DK held double, and it's really making me happy. And I will give it the attention it deserves later with also the design. It's a free design on Ravelry, but I can't remember. It's my latest added project page on Ravelry. I also have this little scrappy project. This is my DK scrappy project. In this one I held 2 DK weight yarns together, which creates an Aran weight. In this project I hold 2 fingering weight yarns together, which creates, oh, my phone is ringing, but that can, oh, let me see. Okay. My sister's calling me, but I think the video, I will call her back when I'm finished, but I think the video is still running, so I'm sorry for this interruption. I'm wearing my my Fitbit again. I don't really love the look of it, but it's really motivating me to take enough steps every day. When I'm not taking enough steps in 1 hour, I get a bzzz. and a part of me doesn't like that bzzz, so within a few weeks I will drop the Fitbit. But I also know I feel better when I move a lot, and I do walk a lot with the dog, but I also do knit a lot, and my body loves to be busy. So when I get the bzzz, I know, okay, let me do a little task with some more movements involved, and it balances my my sitting and moving more, so that feels better for the body. So, but yeah, apparently I also receive a message when someone's calling me. Otherwise I wouldn't have noticed. Okay, but I also love this one. It's still a little bit, I think it will be a scarf, a very big long scarf which you can turn around your neck many times, but it also still can be a project bag. I love the idea of that. The only thing is I don't need a project bag. I also don't need a scarf. But I love to have this big scrappy scarf in our scarf basket, so one of my family members can wear this. So this is a perfect project to use up all the little tiny fingering weight scraps. It is laying in our bedroom, and I knit a few stitches of a few rounds every now and then. I don't have a hurry with this. It's actually a process knit, and the main goal of this, there are several main goals, I guess. One of the main goals is catching up all the little tiny yarn ends, making something with all the little scraps. And the other main goal, can you have two main goals? Yeah, it can be in one project. The other main goal is the relaxing knit. It's laying here, so I always have something I can grab with no hurry, but also there is nothing difficult involved. So I can, it's a little bit of a recharge knitting. When I need a few moments for myself, I can knit a little bit. I knit on it when I'm editing my videos and I have to wait for a little while. I'm knitting it when I'm waiting for the laundry, for the washing machine to be ready. I'm waiting for it when I have a phone call and I'm upstairs, I can knit on it. It's just an always workout knit, and I love to have those in my life. This other one is also that way, so you can cast it on and it doesn't need to be finished, but it's just nice for working on always. Yeah, I have another finished object. Oh, I have too much to tell today. My BFF socks, my friendship socks are finished, although the first pair is finished, and those are not mine, obviously, because of the colors. I love color, don't get me wrong, but this is quite bright. I received 2 yarn skeins of one of my best friends. She's not a knitter, she was not a knitter, she can crochet, but she was not really active with that. But she and her family, they love hand knitted socks, and I made them several pairs, only 1 pair for her, and she begged me on for more. But yeah, I have a long knitting list and I was not really making time to create her another pair. And then last December, I guess, they came home for from a little holiday trip, and she bought 2 skeins of sock yarn. The Zauberball Crazy from Schoppelwolle, that's a German brand, and I really love the colorway, the way the yarn is spinned. And she brought 1 bright one, the Papagei, that's German for parrot. In Dutch we say papegaai, the bright, full, colorful bird, for herself, and 1 other colorway for me. I will show it in a minute. And she wanted me to learn her to knit socks. So I sent her all the videos and she said, no, I want to learn it from you. But I don't like learning other people knitting. I really love inspiring, but literally learning. I'm not the most patient person, I guess. But she was a quick learner. So, and she came with the idea that we would knit the socks together. So I would do the harder parts, the toes and the heels, and she would knit the legs. And so I did knit the toes and the foot of this one and the heel, and then she did the leg. And she was a very talented knitter. She really picked it up quite quickly, and it was really nice. And I finished the sock, and the second one we also did this one, and she brought them with to me this Saturday. So I did finish the ribbing, and now her pair is finished. And I have one pair too, but mine is not really as far as hers, because that's all my... Oh, I dropped a stitch. I dropped one stitch. She brought a shuffle Zauberball Crazy Ball for me in the color Late Autumn, and that's a beautiful color. I have one sock. She wanted long legs for slouchy socks, and I wanted extra long socks for slouchy legs. She was knitting and she said, do you really want such a long leg? It were 150 gram yarn balls, and I told her, just knit until you are reaching the 75, because then I can make two very long socks. And I really love leg warmers. I love the slouchy look, so I thought to make it as slouchy as possible. So I really love those colors. Aubergine brown. It's really warm and lovely colors. The leg is a little bit on the narrow side. I made a mistake with knitting those socks. I thought it was a fingering weight sock yarn, but it was actually a sport weight sock yarn. You have the Zauberballen in both yarn weights. And I didn't know that, because I knitted sport weight socks and fingering weight socks in that yarn, but I didn't notice when I start knitting. So I start knitting her socks with 2mm needles and just casted on 56 stitches, as I always do. And then I was afraid it was a little bit too big for her because the yarn was thicker, but that was not a problem, so we could leave it that way. And then I casted on less stitches for my own socks, because I really love the fitted shape on my feet, around my feet. When I started sock knitting, I always made my socks a little bit on the loose side, because then the problem then was when I was wearing them in my sneakers, there was always a little bit of fabric flowing over my heel in the sneaker because it was too loose. And now I'm better in making the perfect fitted sock. But I didn't want it to be too fitted around my leg, because I want to have it slouchy. So I made an increase, or actually 3 at the back. Where's the back? Oh, here it is. I don't know if you can see it, a little tiny lace increase. So I added 3 stitches. Now I know, I was a bit afraid it would be too wide. Now I know that I should have added 2 extra, maybe 3 extra more stitches, but I didn't do it. So I can wear it, and it is slouchy, but I can't pull it over my whole leg, because then it's too tight. But I wouldn't wear them that way anyway, so it's okay. So after finishing her socks, I casted on my second sock yesterday. It goes quite quickly, and I'm now at the point that I can knit the heel, and then I will do the increase stuff, and then I will bring the sock to her so she can finish it. And it was such a lovely idea to knit them together. It didn't come up in my mind. I knit a lot of socks for other people, but there are not a lot of people who knitted socks for me. So it was very nice to work together on the same project, and the same as the love for my daughter is catched into the coffee mug, the love for my friend is catched into the socks, and it gives me really a heart-jumping feeling while I am knitting them now. But I am quite sure that feeling will last, and I will definitely feel it when I'm wearing the socks. So that's really nice, and I really can recommend this if you have a friend who can knit, or maybe who wants to learn to knit. You can knit socks together. It's really a nice activity to do with your friends. And we only knitted together once, but I really feel connected when I'm knitting at those socks. So that's nice. Yeah, last thing I want to share with you, and then I really stop filming because I'm talking way too long, is the progress on my Prague blankets. Yeah, it is making me so happy. You can't see it full in screen, the same as my skirt. But I am busy crocheting the border. I actually always keep the border very simple when I make a granny square blanket. One color, not too big, but now I had quite a bunch of yarn left. And I didn't want to get stuck. No, not to get stuck. It doesn't make sense. I feel that I want to say that, but I don't think that I mean that. I really didn't want to have a lot of leftovers in this yarn. I want to crochet all the yarns into the blanket. So I decided to make a big border, although I am not used to that. And I love the look of it, but there's one problem. Crocheting all the yarn up in the border means that you have to change color in the same round every now and then, because there's just not enough of that color. For example, in this yellow round, my yellow yarn was gone, and then I had to change to the coral yarn. My Miss Perfect has a very very clear opinion about this. She doesn't like this color changes. She really does like the color changes when the round is finished, but not in the middle of a round. So I had a good chat with her before I did it, and I said, okay, we just will do this because it's not possible otherwise. So it happened for a few times right now, and the fun thing is that I hardly can't find the other spots. Oh, here it is. Here's also such a spot from the orange to the white. Yeah, but it's really necessary if I want to crochet away this whole basket with yarn. And I am quite on a good track with this. It really is my evening work at the moment. Normally I worked on this when my day started, while we were having breakfast. But in the holiday my children are sleeping longer, and then I use those quiet moments for some knitting or crochet, which is more concentration and focus involved. And I use this project in the evenings when we are sitting on the couch or in the garden watching a program or just chatting. And it's really nice to crochet the stripes and the yarn away. And it's really making me happy. I have nice memories of our trip to Prague last November, and this blanket will be for in our little camper van, which is on the way. Only a few months patience. So the next time we will go on holiday, the blanket must be ready. But it will be October, I guess, so I have time enough, and I'm really enjoying working on it. So I wanted to show you a little bit of the progress, and when it's finished I will give it a whole episode, because I just love granny squares. I saw it was Granny Square Day last day. I know it's always in August. I don't really have special feelings with those days, but granny squares are always, it's always Granny Square Day. I really love them. So if you can't crochet granny squares and if you're doubting about it, I definitely can recommend it. I really love granny squares. They are so satisfying. They are perfect for crochet your scraps away. So if you are doubting about learning that technique, or maybe relearning it, or just give it more attention, I can really recommend it. It's making me very happy every day. Okay, that was it for today. Yeah. As I said last week, I guess, I'm not quite sure, the holiday is over. Today is actually the last day. Tomorrow school will start, high school will start, and I'm really, I'm really okay with that. I really love the summer tempo and I really love the summer routine, but going back to normal a little bit gives my life also a little bit more structure and routine and alone time. And I appreciate that too. I'm actually quite a happy mother today, because tonight our son will arrive home. He did a bike trip, a bike holiday. He's traveling by bike through France for more than 5 weeks right now. So we did visit him when we were in France, but it's a few weeks ago right now. And they will come home tonight. So we will have some guests tonight, and I'm really looking forward to that moment because I missed him. But also, it's the first time within weeks all my chickens, my little chickens, are at their nest together. Because at the beginning of the holiday, my daughter was away. It's with bigger children. They do their own things, do their own holidays, and they're alternating each other. So our family of 5 hasn't been together for 2 months, and I'm really happy we will be together for a little while from tonight and the coming days. So that's really a heart jumping moment for me. So not much editing time today, but you know, when you see this video, I'm cuddling my kids, so I know you will understand. Yeah, so that was it for today. I will be there on Friday with a heart jumping Friday video. You are more than welcome, but be aware it's the membership part of my YouTube channel, and you have to pay a little amount of money for an extra video every Friday. And I hope with the start of the school year, I have more time to film this week, because my house will be empty. And that's really necessary to make the videos. So I will bring you with me and answer all your questions about all the things you want to know on Friday. And if you are not interested in that, it's also good. Then I will be back Monday, next Monday, with a regular episode. And I hope to show you some progress. And I hope to give some attention to the things I didn't mention today, because there was no time for it. There's too much knitting, too less time. Yeah, that's better than too much time and too less knitting, I guess. Okay, that was it for today. Thank you for watching. I wish you a very nice week filled with a lot of heart jumping moments. And remember, if you can't find them, create them, because we need heart jumping moments in our life. Bye bye.